Hey everybody, I am going to shift gears tonight and talk about something that was going to happen 1 week from tonight, really 1 week from the previous night, and that's San Diego Comic-Con. That's right, San Diego, bleh, San Diego Comic-Con. And San Diego Comic-Con, the 2018 version, marks the 9th straight year that Zennie62 Media has been credentialed to cover San Diego Comic-Con. And so tonight I'm going to entertain you with what I call my Comic-Con preview of sorts. I actually, I could do, and it just occurs to me. I apologize, folks. This has been a busy day, but in a good way, good busy. There's good busy and there's bad busy, right? This has been good busy, and but what I can do is give you some idea of what Comic-Con is like if you've never been there through some of my past videos. And not some of them are long, so I won't bother playing them in their entirety, right? But also, I think it's worth noting that for those of you who've never been to Comic-Con, right? You've got to wait. Hold on a second here. Just testing something, folks. Here. If you've never been to Comic-Con before, so what I'm testing is I plug this in, right? I'm trying to see if this works and there's no light. So it's like, oh, you know what? It's not plugged in. It would do well to have it plugged in over here so that it draws power. It's not plugged in. It would do well to have it plugged in over here. And voila, it's plugged in. Hey, everybody. So, Excel Generations. How are you? Excel Generations informs us that the Anime Expo was last week at the LA Convention Center. Good stuff, man. Wow, really? Hey, what did you see at the Anime Expo that you liked, by the way? And while you're explaining that, I'm going to oaklandnewsnow.com, and I'm going to click on, in fact, I'm going to show you that you can do this right here. I'm really proud of this. This is my brand new blog, okay? oaklandnewsnow.com. And this is it. You might say it's not just about Oakland, folks. Oh, no. Oakland News Now. I'm going over here, and I'm going to click on, voila, SDCC. Sit back and watch the news unfold, right? Ta-da! San Diego Comic-Con party list by Karen Thomas. In fact, I'll open that. And before I talk about my latest bit of news with the party list, I will and see how you're coming in and saying hello. I am going to also explain a little bit about how I started covering San Diego Comic-Con. And now here's the good news is all to this point. I'm not going to be there. And the reason why I'm not going to be at San Diego Comic-Con this year is simply that, I just very candidly, this year I wanted to get a sponsor and have an event myself. And as I said the previous night, I had an investor, and then the investor cut off my funding because of legal issues that investor had with someone else. And so that wrecked my plans. That happened right at the time when I was using part of that money to help my mom, as well as, of course, live life myself. And so I managed to save enough, and then another client came through, and that's been tremendous. And then the other big deal that has restarted the fortunes of my effort in general is the fact that Oakland News Now is a new blog, and it's on Google News, and it's getting rave reviews in Oakland and every place else that people have seen it. And I finally got the traditional blog I've always wanted. That is a mix of the traditional and the new. Just one item I need to straighten out that I'll get to, tonight later. But it's a very minor technical issue. But in fact, I'm proud to report it's minor. But in my brain, it's still major. Okay, so everything is until it's absolutely 1,000,000% perfect, I'm not entirely happy. And even then, I'm still not happy because it's not 1,000,000,000% perfect, right? But my point is that that allows me to cover and report news on a certain topic from two angles. I can report it from, for example, if I take San Diego Comic-Con or some item of news I reported, I can actually report that from two different angles, not just the video angle because I make videos, right? But I can also report it from the traditional Google News angle, and it's really a treat. I mean, it's to be able to have that kind of flexibility. Now, to explain, maybe I can give you a visual of what I'm talking about that I saw earlier today. It's it might work, and it did earlier, but not today, not right now. Let's see here. Oh, that's 2016. Excuse me, because I've made the wrong notation. And this is what I'm talking about. Okay, if you type this right here, right, this is San Diego Comic-Con party list. All right. Okay. So who's out of the top stories? Look who's number one. Ta-da! Oakland News Now, right? That's number one, top stories, okay? So I can choose to attack it from that end, or if I were to make a video from, which I didn't do in this case, from the video end. And there are instances where I can do it both ways, right? So I can have something that is, that represents both. I mean, for example, I didn't do much for Comic-Con yet, but I think I did this for Man of Steel, but thinking of Man of Steel San Diego Comic-Con, I may have, but I think it's so much going on that sometimes it's difficult to remember exactly what you did. But and I did not. I did it. There's videos, but I didn't do it for. I did it for news, but not for videos. Yeah. So that was for. In fact, that's getting crowded. I'm sorry. That's crowded. What I'm talking about basically is the rumor that Man of Steel 2 is going to be previewed at Comic-Con. I jumped on that, and then everybody else jumped on it too. So that is Comic-Con 2018 here. Let's see that. Yeah, everybody's jumped on that one. Wow, that's something else. Okay, Man of Steel 2, San Diego Comic-Con. Oops, it would help if I type correctly. Excuse me, folks. Yeah. All right. See, for example, this is what I'm talking about. All right, I've got it here. This is what I have. Okay, I've got I've got Man of Steel 2. So if I click on news here, see that? Oakland News Now blog. Will DC preview Man of Steel 2, right? Okay, but then if you go over and you click on videos, look at that. Oakland, see that? Will DC preview Man of Steel 2 at San Diego Comic-Con? So I've got it two ways, right? That's not me, but you see that? So that's what I can do now that I wasn't able to do before. This is the first time in my history that I've had a blog that I completely control, not the Chronicle or Oakland Post, that's completely mine, that is on Google News, that's connected to a YouTube channel of 40,000 subscribers plus Zennie62, my channel, that also happens to be on Google News, I might add. So I've got two, all right? Now, I'll go back to your points before I get to, what I was going to get to actually is the agenda. I was going to go to the website itself for San Diego Comic-Con and give you the update. The latest news, by the way, is Aisha Tyler is going to moderate the Warner Brothers DC panel, which means Godzilla is going to eat Aisha Tyler. Just kidding. That's supposed to be funny, folks. And you're saying, who's Aisha Tyler? She is a spokesperson and actress who was most recently on The Talk, and I had the pleasure actually of interviewing her when she uh, visited San Francisco a few years ago. It's on Zennie62 as well. Very nice person. So Comic-Con 2018, July 19th through the 22nd. That also happens to overlap with the Rugby Sevens that I'm going to be covering in San Francisco. Preview night is July 18th. That is Wednesday. So, what's going on? But so this Comic-Con is not going to happen for me in that way. But what I'm going to do anyway is, since I get all the press releases and the announcements, I'm going to put out stuff as I get it, because people are going to be looking online and social media for news and updates. Where everybody will have me beat is in direct access to cosplayers, right? Oh, the cosplay. And I'm not mocking. I'm not doing that in a mocking tone. I really mean it. Cosplay is where it's at, man. That's why people go to these events, right? Cosplay and toys, okay? That's really why they go. And so it's they've got the Comic-Con exclusives. What I'm trying to find here is any updates they have that are out, attending the show, exhibit hall, exhibitions, programs and guests. Let's see here, program schedule Thursday. Let's check on that, all right, and see what we've got coming. And then now that I've got that set, and I'm scrolling down to see what programs are up, and then I'll talk about that. All right. We'll go forward. Okay, now we've got hey Cowboy Wrestler, hey Barry Lee, hey MO Scott. Barry Lee, if you please tweet this out, please do so under hashtag S. These are the ones. Hashtag SDCC. Hashtag SD. Excuse me. Hashtag SDCC 2018. Hashtag Comic-Con. Those, okay? Those are the ones, all right? Hey, Richard Hike, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Rob Iman, how are you? And I hear that a RoboCop sequel's in the works. John Mark says 11 minutes and I never got a notification. Hey, that's weird. Rob Iman says, I hope we get Brainiac or Bizarro as the villain from Man of Steel 2. Rob Iman says, have fun at Comic-Con, if I were going. Now, here's the thing. If you know someone that's going to be in there at San Diego, I'm still looking for a kind of a stringer, right, that I can hook on the Zennie62, let me know. There's someone I may reach out to, but, let me know. This is just I have to be candid, as I've always been. This is a stressful period for me, just because of family, and that's that. And that's the way that goes. So, all right. Before I continue, let me ask, Excel Generation says Funimation, Cintali, Filmworks, Crunchyroll, Faku, etc. were at the Anime Expo in the Los Angeles Convention Center, and Excel Generation's got an autograph from Kome Keltu. Whoa, that's huge, man. John Marks said that he wishes what he was going, but he can't. Okay, fine. How many of you have been to San Diego Comic-Con? Not anything else. I mean specifically the big enchilada. I'm talking about San Diego Comic-Con. By a show of hands, how many of you have attended, or a show of whys? Like why, meaning yes, right? How many of you have attended San Diego Comic-Con? And don't see any response yet. I'll say me. This is, again, my 9th straight year credential. But this will be my, I've been 8 straight times. This is my 9th year, so I'm just going to do it all again. Excel Generations has never been. Anybody else? John Marks, have you ever been there? How about Rob Iman? How about Richard Hike? How about, there's 10 of you watching right now. Excel Generation says no. I'll just type in Y, like this for me. Yes. And so none of you all have been to Comic-Con. Oh, and Excel Generation says I go to all the NorCal anime. Gotcha. But what about Comic-Con San Diego? Has anyone ever been? Anyone? Rob Iman has not been. Who else? Who else? So that's okay. So far, me, I've been, and there's 1 yes, 2 no's, and 1 yes and 2 no's. Anybody else? Anyone else? You all are actually afraid to admit you either have or have not been to Comic-Con? Come on. Say, do something. That's crazy. John Mark says, what does it mean when a person says they're going to San Diego Comic-Con, but as an attendee? Please explain. John Marks has never been. Okay, what that means, John, is if you're going as an attendee, it just simply means you're attending it, all right? Joseph Bensman's never been. Okay, now, if you are, were you asking that question in relation to my saying I haven't been as I've been as an attendee? What I mean by that is this, okay? Attendee means I'm going in person. That's right. Whereas this time, I have my badge. In fact, what they did this year is they sent the badges in the mail for the first time. Now, in the past, you would go to Hall D and stand in this big, long line, okay? And it's a big, long line. And it would occasionally get up to like 90 degrees in San Diego. So if you were standing in line outside, you were doing this. You were basically grabbing something, anything, and fanning yourself, right? If you didn't have a fan. So this time, they've dispelled all that, which is great because it can get dangerously hot out there. I got my badge. So if fortune favored the fool, I could, jet down there real quick as I did. I did that last year, because last year I thought I wasn't going to get there. I tried flight after flight. Flights were really full, and I didn't have enough planes. I actually emailed the CEO and said, please, fly more planes for Comic-Con, right? Next year. This is next year. But I managed to get down there to cover, as some of you may remember, the cast interview for Star Trek Discovery. That was a ton of fun, all right? It was a ton of fun. Really, really quite enjoyed that. So I am, to make this interesting, I will give you, and John Mark says, okay, thanks for explaining this, then you got it. I am going to go to my channel and pull up one of my more fun short videos from past Comic-Con. Since none of you ever went, you can at least get an idea of what it will look like, and and say, hey, next year I want to go. The one change is, and I really enjoyed this. What I'm about to show you is one of the best experiences I've ever had at Comic-Con. This one has to do with a guy who impersonates President Obama, or used to impersonate, President Obama, okay? And he was a blast. His name is Reggie Brown. But this is what happened to set this up, okay? This is 2013 Comic-Con, and this man walked in, and here goes, folks. Hold on to your butts. You're about to meet United States President Barack Obama. Ta-da! Ladies and gentlemen, President Obama. How are you? I'm very well. How are you enjoying Comic-Con?
It's amazing. It's one of the best times of the year for many Americans.
Now, I actually saw on the White House email I got that you were teasing a little kid who was dressed as Spider-Man
in the office.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
It was a lot of fun. And, most times I'm the one wearing the Spider-Man costume in the Oval Office.
Now, what have you seen at Comic-Con so far? What interesting?
By far the best thing I've seen is a new a game launching this fall. And what they did was, there was a lot of controversy surrounding drones. So hitsense.com developed a game that puts battle pillars on ground. Caterpillars that are armed with different weapons. So that's the coolest thing I've seen so far. And it's support.pillars.com.
That's this.
That's right here. Yep.
Oh,
How do you know?
battlepillars.com. So tell us about this game. What's the origin of it? Is this your idea? Or something?
Well, I wish I could take credit, but no. But nevertheless, you start out with the head, and then you build the body. So you have different weapons, different segments, speed, agility, such things, and it's amazing. I had a lot of fun playing.
Now I got to ask you, just shifting gears. You do a great President Obama. Tell us your name.
Thank you. I'm Reggie Brown, and yeah, I've been doing this for about 4 years.
What's the response? I mean, for example, you walked in and that kind
It's
of
amazing.
Stuff. So wait a minute.
Yeah, nobody can believe it. It's especially with we have the Secret Service here. It's amazing. You know, I'm a big fan of the president, and as a man, as a politician,
And you met the president.
I met him. Yeah.
What did he say about what you're doing?
When we came by, he just like, "Hey, good to see you." And I said, "Mr. President, thank you for everything, sir." He said, "Thank you so much," and kept on down. But didn't exactly go according to my original.
What would you want to have? What did you?
I thought when we met, he'd be, "Oh, Reg, I love you, man. I love you too, Mr. President." But it didn't happen that time. But there's
You should have lobbied to be a decoy for him or something.
I actually did, but I don't know if we can hear that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
No, I'm just kidding.
So what's your website you've been taking?
It's presidentialcomedy.com, and I am Reggie Brown on Twitter, and this awesome game is supportbattlepillars.com.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. This is
I'm going to show you my awesome new Wix website. It's got everything I love all in one place.
Sorry about that, folks. That's a little commercial that got in the way there.
need to be saved, you devil, you. You need to be saved, you devil. You're a devil. You're the devil. You need to be saved. Okay, Fox. You need to be saved.
Oh my God.
I didn't get a good shot.
That's hilarious. This is great.
Who you with? Here, let me get our producer really quick. Mr. President.
Everybody looks important, and I'm important. All right, Obama. What do you know about drugs?
Yeah, the doctors. it's cool to see people actually still, favor the president, even with all the stuff that you hear. Seriously, it's really quite a treat.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That was one of the craziest moments. That wasn't the craziest, but it was like one of the craziest moments I've ever had at Comic-Con. I mean, to say the least. That was yeah, that was something else. And but that's Comic-Con. That just happened accidentally, right? That just popped out there. Now, the other crazy part, the thing about Comic-Con is there are all these events. Now, generally, in terms of what's happening, like if you're going to go there, Wednesday's preview night, and Conan has his show. You should have gotten tickets for that by now. Conan has his show. Then Thursday, there's, for example, something I've always covered. It's called the 6th annual. This is the musical anatomy of a superhero event, and I haven't even gotten the press release for that, but they say they're going to have participating composers. The way I've covered, like, I think 4 of these events. This is I didn't cover the one last year, and then missed the one this year. But I've interviewed Tyler Bates, who's going to be there, Marco Beltrami, who did Fantastic Four. Tyler Bates, if you know the composer name, Tyler Bates composed Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, right? And then Kirk Fockers of Black Lightning, Christoph Beck, who is an incredible person, did Ant-Man and the Wasp. He's going to be there again. And then Blake Neely, who a friend of mine, does The Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow. And so once again, he hasn't listed a moderator, right? And I think Ray Costa is going to moderate. The issue I had is I've covered it so many times, and I know the music from these guys, and I know them personally now, that I thought, you know what? I want to moderate. But Ray would not let me moderate. And he had one fellow from Deadline moderate who did like this, okay, I could have done worlds better. And I just got tired of asking. I thought, why am I giving this guy free coverage if he's not even going to say, yeah, Zennie, moderate my panel, right? Why not? Why not? So my ego is that big where I think I can do a great job. But the thing about it is that the composers did too. So I thought, whatever. But that said, the last time I did it, Ray had taken us to a great lunch. We had a great time. It was great. It's a great experience. I have a video from that moment as well. So what I'm giving you is a side of Comic-Con that chances are you're never going to see, unless, of course, you've watched my videos before, and, probably haven't. But because, this has been so focused on one thing, Raiders, right? But in this case, I'm going to write composer, and then Comic-Con, so you can get an idea of who I've talked to. Like, for example, this person is Blake Neely. Blake, I've come to know, Blake's done The Flash, The Arrow. He's a composer for those. He did, also, if you've ever watched CNN's the 60s, the 70s, the 90s, and now the 2000s, he's done all of those, all right? This is Blake Neely right here, okay?
And a Flash, I suppose. Which brings me to a question I've been dying to ask. Every time I think of the Flash, I think of this kind of melody for speed. Is that possible to break out of? That or some variation of it?
Yeah, depends on, with the character, what I want to do is, I'm not talking scenes specifically, the character what I want to do is play more what's going on inside of him. And he's basically terrified to have these powers. He didn't want to have this. He didn't want to be basically a jet. And so what I'm trying to musically was get inside his head in an emotional way. But there's all these, his body's changing, there's all these things. So that's kind of even more the fluid sound than the fast
There's also
sound.
undercurrent of melancholy. Is that where that comes from?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
His mom died. He doesn't really want to be doing this. He, the weight of the world on your shoulders. So I'm trying to do all that. And then I think where the speed will come in is when the scene dictates, this needs to move along. It's a little slow. And the pace comes in. But it wasn't my initial thought. My initial thought was I want to give them the sound of sort of a jet plane, if you can do that musically, and then deal with his inner turmoil.
Question for you. I kind of look at this generation, like score composers, as kind of like this generation's classical music. Do you have your own favorite composer of scores and themes yourself?
Oh yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have figured out to get into this business if it weren't for John Williams. He's the master, and I grew up in a tiny town, Paris, Texas, and I didn't even know what movie music was, but at 8 years old, I was watching Star Wars. It's cliche, everybody says it. But I remember the moment, and I thought, wow, like, I've never heard that music before, so someone must have written it. It's not some old dead German. Like, someone wrote it. I want that to be my job. So I have to always say he's my favorite because he's a master. He's written more well-known tunes than anyone living. But also he got me going on my path.
Very cool.
So you talked a little bit about the difference between the character Arrow and Flash, but with these series being the same universe, you're going to have to combine the two. Can you talk a little bit about that struggle to, well, not struggle, but the process of putting those two themes together because they're so different characters? They're different characters.
Well, I actually got to think of that a little bit ahead of time, and I actually thought about how I was going to put them together before we. There's this great scene in the pilot, not to spoil things, but he runs to Starling City to talk. Yeah, you did see that.
Yeah, I saw it.
And there's that incredible moment where they meet and they talk together. And at the end of the scene, what I'm actually doing, which just a few people will even know, is I introduce Arrow's theme that's been known for 2 seasons, and then I introduce Flash's theme, his emotional theme, and then by the end I intertwine them. And his to me is a more hopeful theme, and Arrow's a little bit more downward. So you've got this sort of up-down thing going.
We kind of got that when we introduced Barry Allen into Arrow a little bit. When you first introduced it there, it's like Arrow opens up and it's really not dark, but you can just feel it's a darker, it's a different tone. Yeah. When the Barry Allen episode aired, and it was so much, it's such a big difference. You could tell it was going to be a different theme. So
yeah. So but I did get to think, like, how are they going to relate? The difficulty becomes, when I'm working on just Arrow, how do I keep them apart too, so that he doesn't start sounding like Flash, and my producers are going, that sounds a lot like Barry. You can't do that to Oliver. But I feel like I've been doing Oliver so long, and I know who that character is. Hopefully, I stay in the right mind.
Can you talk about any future projects that you have?
Well, I'm heading into, this is the first year I've done 4 series at a time, so I'm not really looking, nor am I going to call me for the next few months until I figure it out, but nothing really coming up except these shows I've got. The Mentalist, I was actually shocked when it came back for a 7th season. Very fortunate, but it came back. Resurrection was a show I did last year that is coming back for a 2nd season, which is, and both of those are completely different tonally than either of the superhero shows. So that's gonna be nice to literally wake up and go, what mood am I in? What do I want to write today?
I'm curious, because I go back to the Flash with Danny Elfman, and did you deliberately not listen to that to come up
Shirley
with your
Walker,
own?
right? The Flash?
Yeah, with Danny Elfman.
In the 90s?
Yeah, 1991.
Yeah, it was Shirley Walker.
Right. Yeah.
I deliberately didn't listen to that. Because
can I high five you?
That's intimidating.
It is. That's why I asked.
I mean, it's like John Owen, not wanting to use Superman's theme than John Williams.
Right.
Like, you just because it'll get in there. Now, I'll probably end up ripping it off somehow. But what I'm actually going to try to do is talk to Warner Brothers about letting me use it in bits as an Easter egg.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Like,
Right.
It's in there.
Right, yeah. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, because Shirley was awesome, so I'd love to somehow pay homage. Because also, you guys know that they cast what's his name, John Wesley Shipp, who played Flash as Barry's father in the pilot. So I've got to sneak it in.
Real quick. So you're doing 2 of the Justice League members. Is there one, if you could do a theme for them, who would you do?
You know, actually, one of the first comics I ever bought was Aquaman. So if they introduce Aquaman, I'll be like 5 years old in front of my keyboard. The next
Hey, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, that was. I've interviewed Blake now, I think three or four times since then. That was the first time. That's the first time I interviewed Blake, and I texted him to find out if he was going to be there, and I didn't hear back from him. So I just sound like, heck with you, Blake. You know, he's busy. Sometimes he texts, or if I'm there, then it's like, yeah, meet us at the bar, right? I mean, that's the kind of relationship you establish with people after so much. If you do this so many times, that's the fun part about it. So that's Musical Anatomy of a Superhero. That's Thursday at 10 o'clock, and usually it's an Indigo Ballroom. Let's see if they moved it this year. It should be, hopefully, yeah. Indigo Ballroom, just as it's been for the last 6 years. 10 o'clock in the morning, not 10:50. Now, who knows? That's the 19th. I may not be back from here. Still skittish about, leaving my mom by herself. That's the one thing that's really just got me kind of like, all right. So what else is going on today is Anatomy of a Robot. That looks interesting. And then there's Behind the Music and 10th Anniversary Crime, Death, and Resurrection. And so this is, what's interesting is that, okay, you have Musical Anatomy of the Superhero. Now you've got these other competing panels to produce composers. Basically what Comic-Con is this giant promotional for artists. That's really what it is. It's 150,000 plus people who see artists, and media folks like me cover them. That's what it is. Okay. Let me see get your comments. And so oh, and John Mark says, who hasn't went through an anime marathon? Right. And Citron, hey Citron says, I like how bringing in old characters tie into new shows. Yeah, I forgot to mention Blake Neely also did the Supergirl. Okay, another one of my favorite shows, and that's going to be at Comic-Con again. It's going to be on Saturday at Ballroom 20, I believe, at 1:30. No, yeah, 1:30. No, it's going to be late. Not 1:30. It's going to be 2:30. Yeah, 3:30. 3:30. Yeah. I'll double check that. But I know it's Ballroom 20, and I know it's Saturday the 21st. But the time it's part of the Warner Brothers deal. Warner Brothers is gonna have a big deal there, where among other things, the buzz is that the Godzilla sequel is going to be there in some kind of way, not the whole cast. Okay. You have DC Collectibles, From the Bridge. I'm in the nerd business. That's a panel. You can actually establish your own panel at Comic-Con. John Marks, you were asking about what it means to be attendee, right? If you're still there, you can produce your own panel. I thought about doing that, but you got to marshal. Like, this has been a year where it seems like once I just had things down, like, okay, I got the investor and I got the time, and all of a sudden, it wasn't. I'm just being honest. That hurts. It's kind of like, man, and like rats. All right. Citron says Supergirl had original Supergirl from movie. Dean Cain, Terry Hatcher both had parts. Yeah, they did. And I am still a big fan of Supergirl. My only issue, and I've talked about it, is I love the interracial pairing between Jimmy Olsen and Kara Danvers' Supergirl. I thought that was in the first season done really well, but they were too fast to get away from it, and I thought that the producers did so at the wrong time, because I think the next 2 years you started seeing more and more interracial pairings, and now it's common, right? But I really believe the producers then got it in their heads from someone that, hey, this isn't exactly what our audience wants, and I think that's completely wrong. I really do. It's all in how you write something, so that's what I'm saying. John Mark says, go, go, Godzilla. And Citron says, as well as Wonder Woman. Yeah, Wonder Woman's going to be there too. By the way, John Mark says, how did I get credentials to San Diego Comic-Con? I'll tell you, it started all the way back in 2009 through David Glanzer. And David, you say, who's David Glanzer? Well, I'll show you by video. It was Mr. Glanzer that invited me to cover Comic-Con. And David Glanzer was then, and and still now is, the head of marketing and PR for Comic-Con. And what happened was I went to WonderCon when it was in San Francisco, and I made a video. I got 11 videos of him. I made a video of him, an interview, and we were talking about the diversity issue, right? And this was the first video we did. I'll show you. This was what got me into Comic-Con. This was in San Francisco at WonderCon. This was, wow. What I'm about to show you is 8 years old. Excuse me, 8 years old now. I was looking down, and this is 8 years old now, all right? This is David Glanzer right here, okay? On WonderCon SF and Diversity. And enlarge that. David Glanzer, Director of Marketing and Public Relations for WonderCon. Hey, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I'm really impressed with the turnout. Is this a record?
Well, we don't know yet, but our pre-sale numbers have been up, so we think so. Last year we had 34,000 people, which was our biggest year yet. Yesterday's numbers look pretty good. From what we can tell today, it looks pretty good. Tomorrow's Easter, so we don't go, so we'll be.
I've been to, I think, 6 WonderCons. This one first is press. Impressed with the diversity. What does that say about comics and our culture?
Well, I think one of the great things about like WonderCon, our sister show Comic-Con in San Diego, is I think you'll find a meeting of people here that might not always hang out together outside of the four walls here. But one of the great things about this event is I think we look beyond gender, we look beyond race, we look beyond the handicap, we look beyond all those things. When you read science fiction or comic books or whatever, the mind is limitless in terms of what people can do, what their abilities are that are differently. So you see somebody in a wheelchair here, I don't think anybody cares, because you read stories about people who, have no legs or have multiple, or whatever it happens to be. I think the same thing is with gender too. And when you think about that, those really are such small issues that I think we all wish that we could live in a society where those things didn't matter.
Right.
And at least for 3 days out of the year in San Francisco, I think it does.
Do you also think it has something to do with how entertainment and comics have merged with new media?
Yeah, I think this is something that, our attendees have always known. And as comic books are being made into movies and stuff, and I think you start seeing more properties that are more inclusive. I mean, Avatar, for example, a person who couldn't use his legs. I mean, you start seeing that integrated, and I think all of a sudden people realize, it's the way we should be thinking anyhow. And you know what? I think anybody thought twice about that in Avatar. And it's the same thing here. I don't think people think twice about it here.
This is a fun event. Hey, congratulations, brother.
Thank you very much. It's a lot of good. Having a good time. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's what got me in, because after we did that, interview, he said, so have you ever, been to Comic-Con? And I said, no. And he said, you're in, and that's how I wound up covering Comic-Con. I made more YouTube videos at Comic-Con than any other single person or media outlet. Although if I keep missing them, someone's going to catch up to me. But I made, on the average, I would say 70 videos on premise at Comic-Con. And ever since YouTube app came out, my production went way up, okay? I mean, way, way up. So that was, you know, that was that. So, and so anyway, that's how I got credentials, John. But I think what you need to do, if you want to get credentials to Comic-Con San Diego, I can't speak for any other Comic-Con, what you need to make sure that you have, at the minimum, is a blog that is about 6 months old, and that has, I would say, a healthy amount of content. I've got multiple blogs, all right? And you have to have a track record of video and blog content, not just video. You can't say, well, I have a Twitter account. That's not going to do it. You can't say I have a Facebook page. That's not going to do it. You have to have your own standalone blog or website, or be affiliated with a blog or website. And if that's the case, then you need to show them a copy of your masthead, right? And a letter from the editor of your publication that is addressed to Comic-Con. You can do this online, and they get back to you. Yeah, it takes about a few weeks. You get your answer back, and what happens is, if you're accepted, you are in for 2 years. So you don't have to apply again for another 2 years. Like, after this time, I'll have to apply again. And the deadline to apply is in December of the same year. So after the end of this Comic-Con, the clock starts ticking already. I'm just going to reapply early, get it out of the way, because I've already blogged about stuff. I've got a cache of links that I can post, for next year, and then, get that done, get that out of the way, and then start lining up sponsors, right? So that's how you do it, John Mark. So if you need help with that, let me know. I'm happy to give you a hand. If you want to if anybody out there wants to be credentialed for Comic-Con, and you want to write something, and maybe you don't have your own site, you can post something here and use that as part of your evidence. I'm happy to help you there. I've done that with other people. I don't know how many other people I can sign up. I'll have to find out, because I do know that there are people who take teams, right? It'd be fun to take a team of people and do it that way, okay? But if you want to do this right, you need money and time. Money and time. This is, John Mark says, I was thinking of Color and Creature Con. I think, here's the thing. I think everyone should experience San Diego Comic-Con once. And the reason is that forever, particularly in these times where people seems like they're always at each other's throat, it is really an experience to be among thousands of people who are so nice to each other and so happy to be there. If you want a reaffirmation of American society, I really beg that you go. I said that just like that. Beg that you go to San Diego Comic-Con. I'm serious. I don't know what New York Comic-Con is like. I've been to Dragon Con. Different. But I'm saying San Diego Comic-Con is that kind of place. And I think if I had to put together why, it's because of the kids. It really is family friendly. You have large families, large groups of families that go. Some in strollers, okay? And they're just overjoyed. They really are. They're just, oh my God, they're amazing. And then to hear this just also deafening roar of people who are just excited to see their heroes in Hall H. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here, so that you can have a visual to go along with what I'm explaining to you right now in this segment of the program here. I'm going to type, let's see, Hall H. Let's see what I get here. Hall H. Oh, by the way, this is one of the most popular videos I think, no, you know what? I'll use this one. This is Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool. All right, this was hilarious. You have to, I mean, but I want you to hear the ovation this man gets. Where I'm standing is in the press pool. All right, check this out. This is Hall H, Ryan Reynolds, right here as Deadpool. All right, listen. Okay, so that was one. Let me get a better one because that was a little too short. That was only 52 seconds. Let me try to find one that's better. This is the Arrowcast introduction at Comic-Con, also in Hall H. But hold on a second, and so let me enlarge this. It's just the people going nuts is just what's so cool about this. Look, this is Arrow.
Next up, executive producer Greg Berlanti. Star Paul Blackthorne. Star David Ramsey. A little lady by the name of Emily Bett Ricards. Oliver Queen himself, Stephen Amell. Give it up for Katie Cassidy. Keep it going, Willa Holland. Perhaps he's reformed, we don't know, John Barrowman. Next we have executive producer Wendy Mursaw. Executive producer Mark Guggenheim. And last but by no means least, executive producer Andrew Kreisberg. Guys, give it up.
All right, so that was that panel was for Arrow. If you're also saying, hey, you know, I recognize those producers' names. Andrew Kreisberg is also the executive producer for Supergirl. Also, sadly, I think he had an issue. I think he got caught up in the negative end of the Me Too movement, had to shift gears away from Supergirl. All right, but hey, you know, those dims the brakes. Now, this is one of the more fun moments I've ever had at Comic-Con. And what happened was Gal Gadot. This was from 2015, and Gal Gadot was part of this Women Who Rock panel, and this guy comes up and well, watch.
הכי ארוך, בוא נגיד, להגיע לפה. אף אחד פה לא עשתה את המסע שאת עשית, כאילו, מהמדינה הקטנה שלנו.
איך אני מתרגשת לשמוע לנפל.
ורציתי שתספרי קצת על המסע הזה.
Do you want to ask the question in English?
Okay, so I said that I think that Gal made the biggest journey. I mean, no offense to you ladies, but we have a very small country, and to break out of it, it's exponentially, I think I'm using that right, harder. So I wanted her to tell us a little bit about that journey.
And I was just so moved by the fact that someone just spoke Hebrew to me. I gotta tell you that I really believe now that it doesn't matter where you come from and how small the country you're coming from is, or as long as you aspire to, as long as you dream and you aim high, all the cliches are right, really. And I think that if you're persistent and if you're good and if you're trying your best and being proactive, at the end of the day for me, because I've tried for years, I've been doing this for 8 years, and really now this is the biggest thing for me. And I really feel that it's a combination of being prepared and having the opportunity and a lot of luck and having all of these elements together at the right moment. So I'm very grateful, and I do think that everyone can achieve their dreams.
Yeah, so that was that has been seen now almost 300,000 times. So, you know, that's what's cool. I mean, you get moments like that at Comic-Con, and you get other things like, you know, William Shatner and everything else. I've interviewed William Shatner there twice. So, so yeah, John Marks, you want to come along? John Marks says CreatureCon is a sci-fi, horror, and fantasy thing like San Diego Comic-Con. I do have a website, creaturecon.com. Hey, when is CreatureCon, by the way? He said check it out. I'll check it out right now. I'm opening up CreatureCon 2018. It is in its 7th year. Oh, it's coming up. It's at the, it's in San Ramon. It's in my backyard. Oh, look at this, folks. Look at this. CreatureCon, ta-da. CreaturesCon, excuse me. The San Ramon Marriott, August 12th, Bishop Drive, dedicated to classic camp, horror, sci-fi, horror hosts, monster kid culture, classic TV, celebrity guest dealer panels, special film presentations, costume contests, and more. 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. August 12th. So, hey, I gotta go. I gotta go. Hopefully, I'm able to get back home at 10. Thank you for the, thanks for the tip, John Marks. Let's see if they've got, that's right around the corner. They've got, let's see here, Night of Living Dead, Planet of the Apes, celebrating 50 years. Find them on Facebook. Let's see, I'm clicking on the guests. Guests are, this is interesting. We've got William Lustig from Maniac Cop, John Stanley, Charlotte Stewart from Trimmers, Creature Features, and Nick Estefan, who played, who actually is specialized in custom-made costumes here, C. Andrew Nelson, John Provost, who's known for for Timmy Martin, and then he's the Country Girl in Back from Eternity. Laurie Jacobson, she is a Hollywood researcher and author. Lord Blood-Ra, Napa City Ghosts and Legends. Tom Ryrish, Stefan Taylor, Sally Wilkins, who is the wife of the late Bob Wilkins on TV there. And Ms. Misery is going to, Miss Misery is cute. And that's it. So anyway, Miss Misery looks like she's appropriately named. This is Miss Misery right here. Okay, this is a Miss Misery. All right, she is a horror hostess of the popular syndicated television show Miss Misery's Movie Massacre. Oh, and then there's Sally Wilkins, a Bob Wilkins fan. All right, so anyway, that's it. There's the that's that. Now, getting back to Comic-Con news. Thank you for that, John Marks. And John Marks says, I can't explain what CreatureCon is all about in my own words, but checking out the website is all about. Got it. CJW, hey, how you doing, by the way? Says he's gonna make it. Yeah, it's it looks good. Now, getting back to, speaking of that, because and creatures. You got a lot of creatures at Comic-Con. Okay, so there's it takes 2 creative forces. By the way, time flies. It's 1:52. I'm going to stop at 2 o'clock. And I'll be doing more. I just wanted to give you a taste. This Comic-Con Film School, Legion M, how fandom is changing Hollywood. Hey, this is interesting. I want you to listen to this, okay? This is an interesting business model. Legion M, this is the second time they've had a panel at Comic-Con. All right? I need to do a panel like this, or maybe I'm thinking of it. What am I thinking? Listen to this. The world's first fan-owned entertainment company reveals how fans can become a part of Hollywood and have access to special screenings, industry events, and exclusive meetups. Paul Scanlon's the CEO, Jeff Anderson's the president, and Terry Lebroff, COO, as well as David Baxter's the head of development. Now, what's the key here? They teamed up, all right? And everything that I've done, I've tried to get people to team up with me, but in the end, I wind up doing all the work. So, and that's the lesson for anybody out there. Team up. You know, if you're serious about teaming up, team up. I tried to do that with the investor thing, and give people outlets, and that's still there, right? But it doesn't matter if it's Bleacher Report, which started with 3 guys, or Gawker. I'm not saying it can't be done. Look at Perez Hilton and his blog, right? Or even though I haven't made a lot of money, look at what I've done in terms of giving myself visibility. But I don't like doing this by myself. I like it when I have a team. I liked it when I covered the Night of 100 Stars with 5 other people, and they were all working with me, not 4, but with. Because you create your own little family that way. Maybe it's a byproduct of my being an only child. Whatever whatever you want to make of it psychologically, it is what it is, right? But and it is. But this Legion M is proof positive once again that the best corporate efforts, but particularly entertainment, are done in groups. Group with people. You know, bring together your complementary talents, or hey, maybe you're each good at the same thing, but together you're really powerful. Fine. Group, group, group. In this case, it says that Legion has been involved with films like Bad Samaritan, Colossal, Mandy, and The Field's Guide to Evil, as well as digital series like Pitch Elevator, plus the first ever VR interview series called Icons, and that was Stan Lee and Kevin Smith. And it says, learn how they source and develop ideas, what's coming next, and how you can join the Legion and become part of Hollywood. Now, what they do, okay, is they raised, I think it was $4 million off of a crowdsourcing campaign, and this is their way of keeping themselves going. They had this, they had this big splash. All right, their model is entirely different from mine, and I think the way they did it in terms of getting visibility, it worked like this, but it didn't last because they didn't have a consistent news reporting part that kept their name out there on a daily basis. So they have to do stuff like this, and you get the idea. All right. Anyway, folks, it's 1:55, and thanks you for indulging me. I didn't expect this to be a big to-do tonight. I didn't want it to be like this intimacy, and I wanted to talk about Comic-Con. Now, the other event, John Mark says, I like to team up someday. It's work, but it has rewards. I find if you team up the right way, it's less work than you realize. It all depends on how it's done, I think for me, and again, I'd love to have, this is what I want, because I actually have the budget for this, and I have the budget for this. I wanted to do it this year for Comic-Con, and again, I had this guy who says, I'll find you a sponsor, did nothing. I've had a lot of people who said they'll do this, they do nothing. Serious, and I give them a great plan, I get no feedback whatsoever. Right? So it's kind of like, really? So anyway, but don't get discouraged, folks. Keep trying. But I have a budget for Comic-Con, and I know exactly where I would want to have my party, how I would do it, and it wouldn't be a party for ego. It has a business component to it that's very powerful. My entire plan does, and I've got it all worked out. So just a matter of pitching it, finding the right partner. Boom, that's it. So anyway, all right, it is 1:57. And it's, like I said, it's a long day. Over dinner, I had dinner and I fell asleep at the dinner table. That's why I'm late, folks. I'm just tired. To be honest with you. All right, everybody. I'll see you later. By the way, it rained in Las Vegas. I think it's raining in Las Vegas tonight. Still keep an eye out. No, there's a lot of bad NFL news too. I lost. Anyway, whatever. See you guys later. All right. Bye bye. See ya. And thank you. Hey, if you're just coming by, I'll be back Sunday. Watch horror films. Keep America strong. And remember, visit Oakland News Now for Comic-Con. But let me show you where to go for Comic-Con news, folks. And I want this to be emphasized. You want to figure out, hey, where you go? Where do you go, right? I'm going to show you right now where to go. Right here. Boom. Oakland News Now, oaklandnewsnow.com. Go to Oakland News Now. Click over here. What does SDCC stand for? San Diego Comic-Con, right? Click on it. Wait for the screen to refresh. The screen refreshes, and voila, San Diego Comic-Con. Party lists, news, right? Godzilla comes to, see that? Check it out, folks. Lost in Space, Sid and Marty Krofft, Man of Steel, History Channel, FX. Check it out, all right? Consistently updating it with Comic-Con news, new on a regular, daily, multiple times a day basis. All right, everybody, I'll see you.